you guys, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because one, got a surprise for Kelly about something that's coming in the new year. And two, Urkel has written a book.
There's that. And also, we have an amazing audience question involving we'll say stars from the past teaming up with stars of the present. Yeah.
Fun.
Enjoy the show, everyone.
Oh, hey.
Hi, Sharon.
Nice hang time there.
Yeah, that was good.
Cool, Kel.
Yeah. You should tell everybody the new name you've given me.
Well, Kelly calls me Sharona, which a lot of people do.
Mhm.
And after this many years of friendship, which I believe, what are we near? Over 20 years now?
We're at 19.
Oh, it's coming up. We might have a dinner to attend.
Yeah.
It dawned on me today to call you Kelowna,
Yeah.
which for residents in Canada, we know that that's a city in British Columbia.
Mhm.
But the way I spell it is with two L's.
Yeah.
I know I'm on the edge, and it's taken that many years to come up with that.
Yeah.
Of all the other things I've called you, good and bad, Kelly, behind your back, this is a good one.
I appreciate that. Thank you for your reference.
You know what? I realized that after a few shows, we do mention Adam later.
Yeah.
We should mention him off the top that he's actually busy taking over the world as far as programming, and he's climbing the ladder really successfully. And he manages to find some time for us and fit us in. But he's busy and he's taking care of us on a technical level, but we do miss him. So for anybody wondering, in the background, anybody watching our show right now and sees Kelly, Sharon, and Adam saying, who the hell is Adam? He's the Wizard of Oz. Okay. Yeah. Don't pull the curtain back. I saw him today, actually. I'm not sure that he saw me. We don't even work in that big of a building that I saw him, but he didn't see me see him. Anyways, hair looks good.
Okay.
Growing in, but it's controlled. He's not like a cave person,
Yeah.
He's what's the word? Manscaping, but in the parts that we can see. I don't care about the other parts. Kelly just got like an awkward, like, why is she saying those words?
Yeah.
He looks good is my point, and hopefully we'll get to see him again soon on this little box.
Yes,
but until that time, we appreciate the work that he's doing behind the scenes for 90's Now. Agreed. Now for the show today, Kel, we got a few things to tackle, not the least of which is that Queen Latifah's successful run with The Equalizer will turn into, fingers crossed, successful runs for a few other actors. We'll talk about that, offshoot possibilities, some other fun news that I think Kelly will like. That maybe you're aware of this, I'm not sure. I know that you've had a busy week so far. So maybe you missed this bit of good news, but I know you're going to like it, whether you know it or not. And it's good, even though we are also going to get into Kelly's trivia, which will make us feel like we haven't studied enough or at all.
Yep.
Your 90's rewind will make it seem like we were listening to the radio back around this time in 1999 with a handful of songs to trigger your unlock your memory bank. And here's something that seemed a bit surprising to me, that Urkel is 47. So we're going to talk about that and how his new book will explains how things kind of fell out with Will Smith. But we should start in the now because within the past couple of days of recording this show, the funeral service for Liam Payne of One Direction, originally of One Direction, has already happened. So let's start there, Kel.
Yeah, as of our recording, it was actually today. And where we are, I think they're 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. So I saw the news fairly early in the day because, it would have been like 11 or noon already over in England. And it was funny because I knew that it was coming, but they were, I think, trying to keep it very much on the down low, which is very much understandable. But it was it's such a weird way to say this. It's a terrible situation. However, I was happy that all the boys showed up.
Yeah.
For Liam. Yeah. including a few other people like Simon Cowell, who seemed actually there was a picture that I saw where he looked like he was moved to tears talking to the parents
Really?
of Liam, yeah. And then James Corden was there, who I believe, if I read things correctly, showed up with Harry Styles or at the same time as Harry Styles, but I think it was with Harry because I think they're buddies. And then Cheryl, who was Liam's ex, and the mother of his child Bear, she was there, and she had some of her bandmates show up to support her,
Hmm.
which I thought was great. And Liam's, girlfriend that he had at the time of his passing, she showed up. And then I guess it's a small world because Elizabeth Hurley's son Damien is friends with her and showed up with her.
Oh, wow.
So there was that, and then there was a few other like British announcers, like presenters as they call them, like basically our equivalent, I guess, but probably more popular than at least me, but not you, Sharon. Uh,
No, we're good, Cal.
so they showed up, which I thought that was great because I think that just speaks to Liam, who had a great relationship with many, people in the industry over there, and they wanted to show up for him. So,
Well, it's interesting to hear you talk about Elizabeth Hurley as a mother. That I think kind of humanizes everything. She's got a son who's the same age, who's a friend, a contemporary of Liam Payne and his people. I mean, yes, they're superstars, and yes, they are world renowned, and yes, they have huge fan bases, but they're humans
mm,
that grew up with friends that have parents that are also devastated by the shock to the um, chronological order of things.
mm,
At least, you think that older people should go first, right? Um, so yeah, it's quite sad.
yeah. And they had I don't know if you saw in the article, Sharon, but they had really nice floral arrangements for him, including one that said daddy, obviously, because he was a dad to Bear, and then one that said son. So obviously that was, from the parents, so his parents. And then what I read was, and well, I saw the picture. There was a picture of, or like a picture of a floral arrangement, or it seemed to be a floral arrangement of bowling pins. And
Mm-hmm.
apparently Liam, like he was super into bowling.
Oh
And
wow.
and so I thought that was a nice touch. And I have to say too, like the pictures that I did see of Harry and Niall and Zayn and
And
Louis,
Louis, yeah.
yeah, they were all wearing sunglasses. And it looked at one point that Harry looked like, I don't know what the word would be. We'll say distressed,
Broken up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It is a sad, sad situation indeed.
yeah.
May he rest in peace. He obviously has had an impact over the course of the last couple of decades, let's say, or within that time. That the his impact is beyond generational,
Mhm.
meaning he's got his contemporaries, but he's also people have watched him grow up,
Yep,
and may he rest in peace.
yep,
We wish that for him, for his family, and for the family he was creating.
yep.
Well, I just wanted to create some hang time before the dark cloud. We got to move it over that way. I thought that we should probably maybe create some levity with some trivia. Are you ready for that?
I'm ready. I'm sure you're going to think that my trivia is not that funny, however.
I am not ready, but I'll do it.
Maybe your answers will be funny, Sharon.
Maybe.
I actually think though, that for sure you're getting one of these. And if you don't get it, I'll be sad for you.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Would you like to start there or would you like to
Would
start?
I ever?
Okay, so the one that I believe you're going to get is art and literature.
Literature.
Yeah. And actually there is a solid chance that you will get the sport one, which I'll get to in a second. But it's funny, when I read the sport one, I actually was like, oh yeah, I know the answer to this. And then I was wrong.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, let's see what happens.
So we'll start with art and literature, the one that I believe you will get. Which 1992 self-help book by John Gray explores the differences between men and women as if they were from different planets?
Oh, wow. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus?
Yes. Go,
Yeah.
Sharon.
I just wanted to make sure I got the planets proper.
Yeah, I understand that. Good job.
That was the most you could have you couldn't have made that question easier.
Yeah.
Like throwing in planets at the end there. I appreciate
Well,
that.
I was only reading what the magical card says, and I will actually read what the magical card says on this one because, as we talk about, sometimes the card decides to be sassy. So
Yes.
the card has decided to be sassy with this particular question. The bangin' Deion Sanders left the Atlanta Falcons in 1994 to play for which team?
San Diego.
Ooh, close. San Francisco 49ers.
Ooh, one of the Sands.
Yeah. I actually thought it was the Dallas Cowboys because he did end up playing for them.
Yep.
I think it was after that. So
Okay.
I actually have a football jersey that I still have to this day. It's vintage. It's stitched, the whole thing with his name on the back when he was
Wow.
an Atlanta Falcon.
Nice.
And he was one of the rare two-sport professional athletes, right? Like he played professional baseball and he played football.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
I kind of do.
Because it was
Who
him
did he
and
play
Bo Jackson.
baseball for? You remember?
I want to say Kansas City Royals, I think.
Okay, that sounds more Bo Jackson to me, but
Oh, that is Bo Jackson. Okay, so Bo Jackson was a double sport. So then I'm trying to remember. Maybe he was actually one of the San Frans also then. Baseball.
since I'm here playing football, I might as well play baseball for your team
Yeah.
too.
I wonder if it now keep talking, Sharon. I'm gonna find out which one
All right.
because
Um,
and now I'm like very and as we and I don't know if you know this, Sharon, but he is now a very successful college football coach.
I don't think I knew that. I'm
Yeah.
happy to know that though, because um, that's taking your skill and your um, knowledge of the game and going and giving back. I like that.
Yeah. And it's a and he's like sought after and there's a big thought that he actually might go to the Dallas Cowboys as a coach.
Whoa.
So we'll see. And so I do have the answer for you. So I actually was right, but he played for more teams in baseball than I thought. So he played 9 seasons as a baseball outfielder in MLB. New York
Wow.
Yankees, I did not remember that. Atlanta Braves, I might have remembered that. Cincinnati Reds and San Francisco Giants. And he
Huh.
won 2 Super Bowl titles and made 1 World Series appearance in 1992, making him the only athlete to play in both a Super Bowl and a World Series.
I did not know that. I'm happy to have learned something today.
Yeah, I think he won. I'd have to, and obviously I won't, stress on this, but I think the 2 Super Bowls were with the Cowboys, I feel.
That's cool.
Yeah. He's
Go
like,
Deion Sanders.
yeah. And so they call him, they actually call him because I don't know if you remember his nickname was Prime, like
Yeah.
Prime Time or whatever. So like
Yep. Yep.
they call him Coach Prime.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And actually his son looks like he could be either the first or second pick in the upcoming NFL draft as a quarterback.
I think that's news, isn't it? Like that's recent.
Yeah, that's recent. Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Legacy, man.
Yep.
It's in the jeans.
Yep.
Or maybe not the jeans, but the short fitted pants.
Yeah.
It's a
Short
short,
fitted
long
pants
pant.
and then heeled boots for Lenny Kravitz and Prince.
Oh, yeah. Heeled boots and a soft leather.
Yep.
Peekaboo, Lenny Kravitz.
Oh,
Peekaboo.
much.
How about this for too much? Urkel is 47.
Same age as me, Sharon.
Youch. I thought he was younger than you. He's also an author. Jaleel White is the actor that played Stephen Urkel on Family Matters. He also played Stefan, the
Yeah.
sexy alter ego.
Yep.
And he just released his memoir and was happy to set a few things straight, not the least of which was his feelings about the abrupt end to his working relationship with Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And in a nutshell, we're talking basically about boiling down to the two of them meeting as young men, talking about working together, all while Will Smith's star was really on the rise. And then because of that, it would get increasingly more difficult to get in touch with him. They had a plan for a project.
Mm-hmm.
There was then a break in the chain of command. So getting at Will Smith from Jaleel White's perspective was then even more difficult. Then he was given an opportunity to do a project and took that job basically, and then was shut out by Will Smith.
Yeah.
That's the short story. Obviously, there's more to it, and more to it for him personally to have included it in his book to set the record straight, which I appreciate. To me, it sounds like, I mean, he does admit, Jaleel White does admit to being not confident enough to sort of barge through and say, I need to talk to him kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it strikes me as typical of what we now know of Will Smith at that time, which was a little bit high on his own power.
It sounds like there was a lot, as we've always discussed, that there was a lot of extraneous people involved, which seems to happen with celebrities. Like they end up with an entourage.
Yeah.
And sometimes those entourage people block other people.
They're in the way. But of course, and they have to, it's like make work, right? They have to qualify their salary, because once said celebrity realizes that they're not actually necessary, then that person loses their job. So they have to, it's like that chain of command, those people on the chain of command have to work harder to block people from getting in to qualify their jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's very interesting, as you and I've talked about before, about circling the wagons with different celebrities. And the celebrity thinks everything is okay because it's almost like these people, and I'm not saying everybody, but I think you and I have both seen enough things, even by just trying to get interviews with certain people or whatever, that like they block, and then the celebrity thinks everything's fine, but then they act a different way to the public or the person, or like this person in the entourage acts a certain way with a celebrity, but then acts completely different with people that they think might be trying to get into the inner sanctum.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun little pot of egos.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Yeah.
I like that he said, when I got the opportunity to nearly work with him, I now go back and look at the number of people that conspired to make sure that we did not speak directly any further.
That's it.
He did an interview with Us Magazine. He says, it sucks for me, but as long as I got it out, I got to express it. That's once again in one of those areas where the book just becomes therapeutic, which I think is why people write their memoirs, so that they can have a place to keep all the memories collected, and B, finish some business.
Yeah.
Close chapters within the chapters of the book.
Yeah, especially because if you are a celebrity of any kind of note that's going to get any buzz when you do one of these books, the word will get out if you've talked about another celebrity.
For sure.
So that's why this is working out in his favor.
When I write my book,
yeah,
I'm going to name drop everybody.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Everybody.
Do you know what you're going to call your memoir?
Sharona, I think.
The Queen of Rock. That's all.
Well, can you imagine? That's what I am affectionately referred to at my place of work. And I'll take it because I've been on this radio station for 28 years now. Mm-hmm. But the distinction, I think, once it gets out that I am then Montreal's Queen of Rock.
Yeah.
And then you think of all the actual singers in the rock category that could have that moniker. Then it gets more specific. She's Shome's Queen of Rock.
But I think you are the queen of all, Sharon, so don't worry.
Thanks, Kel.
Is anybody the queen of rock though? Like does anybody, because like as we know, the queen of pop is, everybody seems to refer to that as Madonna.
I think Tina Turner would have easily taken that title, Queen of Rock. She was just, because she wasn't a pop musician, though she had music that was popular. She wasn't specifically soul or R&B. She wanted to be a rock star, and she was.
Yep.
So I would say her.
Okay, cool. That's a good answer.
Thank you. Puts me in great company too, doesn't
it?
Yeah. Hey, speaking of queens, thank you for the segue, Queen Latifah. But her busy schedule and the success of The Equalizer on television means that they've got plans for characters to do offshoot projects, which is great news because she's doing well on that show.
Amazing.
And this will afford a few other people the chance to get their own show. And from what I read in the article that we both have, that I'm sure you read better than I did, basically these characters will be introduced this year, like 2025.
Yeah. And I think you probably noticed, at least in the last X amount of years, and I would say Law and Order is the grandfather or grandmother of all of this. Once
Yeah.
you have a spin-off from your show, if it does well, it's like strength in numbers for all of you to keep
Yeah.
getting renewed, right? So, because Law and Order SVU is now the anchor point, I would say, even though Law and Order was the original, but they've been on for what is this, 24, 25 seasons now? I think it's 24.
Isn't that wild?
And then Law and Order was able to come back because of it. Like they went off the air and then came back. And then the other universe that does very well is the One Chicago franchise, which is Chicago Med, Chicago Fire,
Fire.
Chicago PD. And so
Right.
again, strength in numbers, having like a three-pronged approach to it. And so now with Equalizer on CBS, like getting a spinoff, that means I think even that Latifah and her crew will probably get a longer, tenure because again, strength in numbers. So.
Totally.
And even
And
the what's the other one, FBI, that's like FBI this, FBI that, whatever. That's also on CBS. I think they've got three in that franchise. So like this is amazing news for Latifah and the people at that show. So
and it's amazing news for commercial television because of
Mhm.
the giant success of all the other streaming services means that our attention is fractured in many different directions.
Yep.
So that if they can provide something solid on commercial television that will undoubtedly be attached to a streaming service, the next day kind of thing, it keeps things moving in the right direction, I think.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if you have this thought, like not, and it's not that I actively sit there thinking about it, but because of the advent of streamers and how successful they've done, I still do pull for like a CBS to do well.
For
Like,
sure.
yeah. I maybe it's
Because, and I think it's because of I know that it's because of my age and what I'm used to. I'm certainly open to, new things and watching shows on streaming services, and I do that. But for me, it's nostalgic in a way that I remember how I watched shows growing up and what it meant to have like a almost limited access to stuff like this because you had to wait
Yep.
till the next week to get the episode. Like the way we grew up, it taught us patience.
Hmm.
And now with the streaming service, in a lot of cases, like the whole idea that you would binge something is, I think, I think it affects the way um, the impact of a show
Yep.
because waiting week to week for an episode means that you have to let that sink in. It builds a bit of excitement and anticipation for the next episodes, that kind of thing. Whereas if you drop a series, it's like you're just gobbling it up. And do you retain it as well?
Yep.
And then if you know that as from the creative side, from the writing and the producing and the directing, do you do it differently, knowing that it's being consumed in a way that's more gobbling versus grazing?
Yep.
These are the deep questions that are running through this steel trap with a back door open on it.
This is what we bring to the people with 90s now.
Yeah, you're welcome, everybody.
Yep.
Now, I'm not sure if you heard about this, Kel, but in the series of stamps from the U.S. Postal Service, are you familiar with who will be presented this season, this for
No.
2025?
No.
Betty White.
Oh,
Yeah. I knew
love
you
my
would like
Betty.
the story. Now, Betty White was chosen, they say, because as an icon of American television, who shared wit and warmth with viewers for 7 decades.
Crazy.
Um, they go on to describe her as the comedic actor who gained younger generations of fans as she entered her 90s, was also revered as a compassionate advocate for animals.
Yep.
So we're coming up on the third anniversary of her passing, which would have been just 18 days before she would have turned 100, which
Yep.
is just incredible. She was there, present, mentally sharp until the end. And she's in good company, actually. She's got other people that are getting their stamps are, well, not people when you're Dahlia, when you're the Appalachian Trail. But when you're a musician named Alan Toussaint, he's a classic. There's a Keith Haring Love design that's also going to be featured on a stamp. A 1794 Compass Rose. and a snake for the
Wow.
Lunar New Year.
Very cool.
Yeah, totally. I'm pretty stoked to see those stamps in real time. I'm trying to see if I can the Keith Haring one is that you've seen that image of a heart and two sort of, it seems like animated characters holding
Yeah.
the heart up.
Yeah.
It's that.
Oh, that's cool.
The I'm trying to find the one of Betty White.
Um,
Oh, she's cute in it. She's got like shoulders up and
uh,
oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Oh cool. That's
what's
awesome.
amazing with her is that, and I don't obviously have the information in front of me, but like how many shows like she was on sitcoms that did well. Like there's so many actors that don't even get on one sitcom
No kidding.
well. And then
She
she,
just kept on, kept on,
yeah,
kept
'cause she
on.
was what, Mary Tyler Moore show?
Yeah.
Then was she on, was it the Rhoda? What, did she go on Rhoda? No, did she?
I'm not sure if she was on Rhoda. She wouldn't have had a, I could be wrong, but I don't remember why she would have needed to be on Rhoda.
That was a spinoff, right, of Mary Tyler Moore?
Yeah.
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 And then she was on Mama's Family, right? At some point.
Was she?
Yeah, didn't she play the tramp?
Really?
Pretty sure.
I'm gonna go back and find that.
Yeah, because I love that show. I'm sure she was on that show.
Nice.
And then Golden Girls, and then Hot in Cleveland.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's probably something else in there that, but like she was literally on like five or six like hit sitcoms. And as we know, like even let's say if we use like well, I don't know, we have to pick a successful like sitcom star who was really big on one and then it didn't work any other time. You know what I mean? Sometimes it works. Like what's his face seems to have life, Tim Allen, because he's done two or three, I think, and they're coming
Yep.
back with another one. He's gonna be back again, and so it does happen. But for her to be on like five or six hit sitcoms, like was she even on Maude? Was she on Maude?
No, Rue McClanahan was.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think of a Ted Danson too. He's in the category of successful um actors in sitcoms. He's had a few too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm distracted currently by? That along with I mentioned the Appalachian Trail would be paid tribute with these stamps. I've done a few hikes on a certain from peak to peak kind of thing on within the Appalachian Trail. Not, I mean, it goes from Maine to Georgia, so I've not done anywhere near what people commit to doing for that. But it's pretty spectacular when you think of just to the south of us from here in Montreal, Canada, where in New Hampshire you can go to these mountains, climb them, and by lunchtime be on top of a mountain looking at mountain ranges that just go and go and go. It's spectacular. So those stamps are going to be beautiful too.
That's amazing. And when does
That
that
was my current distraction in that moment, Kel.
when does it happen? 2025?
Yeah, it's for the new year.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Now, how about we do 90s rewind? You think you might be ready for that?
Ready, ready.
Fantastic. We're going back to 1999.
Banner year.
We're coming up on the end of this year by going to the end of that year in our favorite decade, where the number one song on the chart was a guy who had started making music in the 60s, Santana.
Right.
Talk about 90s and now, right? Santana and Rob Thomas, who
Crazy.
was very au courant at the time. And Smooth was the song from the Santana album that featured a ton of collaborations. Supernatural.
Yeah.
Mambo number 5 was within the top 5 around this time in 1999. Little bit of boobada in my life, all the way. Mark Anthony, I Need to Know was our introduction to him on the English side. Steal My Sunshine from Len,
Oh, great.
A Canadian band, brother sister act. That the sister's name is Sharon. Maybe that's why I like them. Who sampled More. So a song from the 70s, from the Andrea True Connection, that breakbeat in the middle of the song.
Amazing.
Also TLC's Unpretty was doing pretty well.
Great.
And we can tie in another rap connection to Lisa Left Eye Lopez, who performed on Donnell Jones's You Know What's Up. She rapped on that.
Oh, that was good.
So good. So good. And to tie in the 90s, yeah, me too. to tie in the 90s with the now, we don't have to talk about the song at all, but just say that Puff Daddy had a song featuring R. Kelly that was on the charts. And considering all the things that we know now about them and what they might have been doing then, I think is quite something. I was reading today that there's a lawsuit.
Another one. Yeah.
Another one that represents, I think, 5 more. It's by an anonymous celebrity. Anonymous male celebrity is what they said.
Wow. Okay.
An extortion lawsuit. And that the lawyer was representing at least 120 alleged victims of Sean Combs. It's staggering.
Yeah.
Anyways, we don't know enough to say any more than that, but that's certainly what's happening in the now.
Yeah.
And that was your 90s Rewind.
Good job, Sharon. We actually have an audience question. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
So I think this is a pretty good one. It's from Serena, and she wants to know which artist from the 90s would you like to see collaborate with like a hit artist, like a pop artist from now?
Huh. That's a good question. I feel like we should ask these questions at the start of the show so that my brain has a chance to go through the files.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
I will take my girl Janet.
Of course you will. And have her sing with Janet.
Imagine. Yeah, she could do that. I would love to see her and Bruno Mars do a collab.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be insanity. Yeah.
How about I'll take Madonna and have her collab with Chappell Roan.
Oh, that would be
just because I had to grab 2 names out of my hat.
That's a very good one. Yeah.
There's a Sabrina Carpenter Christmas special that's coming out.
Yeah, and
it's so funny now.
So funny you said that because she was just the other day, I think at her Los Angeles, she had Christina Aguilera, right?
Exactly. So, that's why I brought it up. I saw that footage and I'm like, that's incredible. Like Christina Aguilera is insanely talented.
Yeah.
She's just so genuinely artistically inclined. She knows how to sing. She knows what she's doing. So to be able to show up, and I think it couldn't have been super surprised or a complete surprise, but to be able to show up and take her experience and bestow it upon a Sabrina Carpenter, who also has to be open to having that kind of lesson given to her too, right? Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and we have another example too, because Ariana Grande, was it last year or 2 years ago? She did do stuff with Mariah Carey for Christmas.
Yes.
Because I remember when I first heard Ariana Grande sing, like I thought she was Mariah Carey. Like their voice can be like easily mistaken for each other if you're not listening. Like if it's a passive listen and you're like, oh wait, and then yeah.
And I think that Ariana Grande is young enough that she's probably grown up singing Mariah Carey. So it's whether it's intentional that she's sounding like Mariah Carey or just that she's had that much practice,
Yeah. So thank you, Serena, for the question. And if you
have
questions, please do drop us a line on our social media.
Drop us a line. Don't mail it in though, because Canada Post is on strike at the moment.
Yeah.
So we won't get it if you mail it.
There's that.
True. There's that.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for your attention. Thank you for listening and finding us wherever it is that you do. We appreciate that always. You got your options and we're happy that you've selected us. Thanks. And thank you for listening to 90's Now. Still happening.